Faith in the Cancer Ward, my testimony. Hi everyone, it's Maria Maumela. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your subscription, for liking, for sharing, and for commenting on my videos. I recorded this video yesterday after many attempts. And when I had to check the video, there was some errors. So I had to record it again today. Yeah, so I pray to get it done today, okay? I believe that this will really bless someone, okay? I have to give out this testimony. Now, there I found myself now in the oncology unit lying on the bed. Just a few meters from me, lay a cot. Inside was my son. He was 3 years old at the time. The oncology unit is where you find your cancer patients and your patients with serious blood disorders, okay? I remember one day I was taken on the tour of this ward, okay, and I was shown the communal kitchen, the communal dining, the communal sitting room. I remember thinking like, these people don't understand. I'm only here for a while. I do not have a plan to stay. And I remember they showed me my locker. They're like, you can use this locker. You just go get your groceries and whatever, and you come and put it here. You don't have to put everything in your room, and you don't have to always cook in your. Actually, you couldn't cook in the room. It was just only a bar fridge and a microwave. But as far as the stove and everything, it was in the communal kitchen. So I was told like, you can just buy your groceries and put them here in the locker room, and you just lock it, and no one will take your stuff. Your stuff is safe. I remember thinking like, this lady, she doesn't understand. I've been praying and I trust the Lord. I'm only going to be here for like a few weeks, you know. No, I didn't think a few weeks. I thought to myself, perhaps in 2 weeks I'm going to be out of here. I believed the Lord, I trusted the Lord. So as they spoke to me, encouraging me, I was talking back in my mind, like, no, that's not for me. No, you don't understand. Like that doesn't apply to me. Like, no, like my son and I are leaving soon. What I didn't understand was that these women were knowledgeable. What these women didn't tell me, and I'm glad they didn't tell me, it would have crushed my spirit, that there are children that had been in that ward for like 6 months straight, and they didn't tell me that. So there I was with this mentality that my God heals and is going to work a miracle. Okay, and it was good that they left me to just walk my faith journey by myself. Okay, so I just told myself, like, I'm not going to be here. The Lord is going to do a miracle. Um, when I, and then a month went by. And then at that time, I was like 8 months pregnant. I couldn't stay in the hospital anymore. I asked my mom to come and stay with my son. The thing is, in that ward, you did not just leave your child there. There had to be an adult that will supervise the child, you know. And when you're there, you also get used to the sounds that the machines make. If there's any problem or anything, you're actually very quick to pick up and you're able to call a sister, okay? So my son was there. Um, my son was there up until I gave birth, because my son came home to find a new baby and he wasn't happy at all. My heart broke because I didn't want him to think that when he was in hospital that mama went and replaced him. That was just the only thing. So when he came back, I gave him lots and lots of love, and I would pick the baby. When I was done with the baby, I would put the baby in the cot and I would carry him so that he feels that he's still mommy's boy, okay? So during that time when the boy was in hospital, it was a challenge. We had different people pray with us, different ministers pray with us. I mean, we were asking for prayers everywhere because we did not want to lose the boy. Okay, the boy was diagnosed with aplastic anemia. His body was not making blood, and then he later he was checked. His bone marrow was checked. They found out that the bone marrow was not doing its job. But thank God the boy did not need a surgery. There was no need for a bone marrow transplant. Okay. So he just had to take the treatment. With the cancer patients, the treatment that they take, it causes hair loss for them. And with the children or with the people that are suffering from aplastic anemia, to be more specific, the opposite is the results. The children become very hairy, okay, bushy eyebrows, just hairy, okay. Yeah, so that's I'm actually cutting a lot of things out to make this video not too long, because I just want this to encourage someone to understand that as believers our faith will be tested. It definitely will be tested. As much as we tell people that God heals, we may have to see God heal in our lives, okay? So now, during that time when the boy was in hospital, we had asked for prayers. People prayed, people came, and over time, people got tired of calling, of checking on us, and which is natural. And I remember there were some family members, out of love, would come and say, "There's this prophet who can do this," and another person would be like, "There's this traditional healer that can do this." So that your son can heal. And when we turned them down, they told us that my ex-husband is born again. Okay, we were both saved, so it was an easy decision to not try those things. So the family, those who came with this advice of the traditional route, they were offended, and they actually said that should the boy die, then the blood of the child was in our hands, because we as the parents are stubborn and refuse to take advice. Okay, things were so bad. I remember one day in the evening we were praying, and my ex-husband said, "God, this boy has suffered so much. It's okay for you to take him." And I remember praying the opposite prayer. Like I was saying, "Lord, I will not lose this child. I've already lost a daughter. I refuse to lose this second pregnancy. I refuse." Okay. And at that time, there was just so many machines, like we couldn't pick the boy up. The boy was in this cot, and there was all these machines, and the boy was not eating. The It was said that the nutrients are in the drip that they give him. Okay, so I remember he had to do a little surgery where they put this little tube here, so that if they need to put anything in his body, they don't keep on hurting him to put the drip, but that they use this thing. Now I've even forgotten the terminology, because it's been long, and it's something that I've gladly buried in the past, because it was quite traumatic. They just put this little pipe that protrudes, so that if they want to give the child any medicine, like anything that needs to be administered, they would use that, any treatment. Okay, so after they did that, it didn't work, so they had to remove it. So to this day, my son does have a mark that shows that they tried to do this thing and it didn't work. Okay, and I was so happy that it didn't work. Just the thought of that thing, that tube protruding out of his body, no, it's too much. Okay, so yeah, I remember the boy was in the ward for 3 months. I mean, the people prayed with us. The people got tired. Now I had the third person was looking for the child. Okay, my mom left, found the second person. Now we're on the third person. Now was actually helping us to look after the child. Okay, so it was hard. It was a very hard time. It was a very sad time. Those were like very trying times. And I remember I was at home one day, and my cousins came to check on me and my husband at the time, to encourage us. As they came with their children. And I remember their children came, and my son had a playhouse that I put in the corner in the living room, so that if I watch TV, he was within my eye view. So when the kids saw the playhouse, they asked if they could play, and I said yes. And I heard them screaming and laughing as they played, and I remembered my son. And I remember thinking, he should be here playing with his cousins, and he's not here. He's tied up to this bed and all these machines. I remember thinking to myself, like, how can this happen to me? How can this happen to me? I was very discouraged, and at that time, I stopped bothering people, asking them for prayer. Even the people were tired of asking us how the boy was doing. And I think people were slowly beginning to open themselves to the possibility of the boy passing away, because this boy was like stuck to the machines, and we like there was no, like they didn't say how long they would keep him, and we didn't tell them that their kids who stayed as long as 6 months, in the ward. Okay, we didn't tell them that, um, because we wanted them to be hopeful and to pray hard with us. But people got tired, But I know that they prayed and they still remembered us, and it was just quiet. It was just us. Now we have to face this thing, and time was just going, you know. I remember. So now, just looking at these kids playing in my son's playhouse, it broke my heart. And after they left, I remember I went into my room and I began to cry. No, I didn't go into my room. I went into my son's room and I began to cry. I began to cry, and I remember a sermon that I heard a day before. How timely the word was. The pastor was preaching about the woman with the issue of blood who cried out to the Lord and said, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. That's all she ever said. And eventually she did get her healing, despite being told to shush by the disciples. I got on my knees and I began to weep. And I prayed. All I said was, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Well, of course, I was weeping and my words were not clear. So, but the Lord heard my prayer. The Lord understood what I was saying. So at some point, I was just praying the prayer in my heart because I couldn't articulate. That's how hard I was crying. That was the first day. The second day, I closed myself in the room. I went on my knees. I wept. And I prayed the same prayer. Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. I'd cry up until I felt like there was some peace or some relief. On the third day, again, I went on my knees and I wept. And I said the same thing. Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. And I wept. And I got up. I remember on the fourth day, it was then that I got a call, and I was told that they had removed all machine except for one. And I was so happy, like the boy was free to move around, like there were not so many cords and everything that was around. And then a few days later, I got a call again, and I was told that the boy was now off the machine. Now, of course, we did go to see him, but you have to understand, like, when changes are happening, you're not there. You understand? So when they remove a machine, I'm not there, so I get to be told by the phone, like, okay, this is what has happened. Okay, and so and also because of my condition, I think I was going to see him every second day. Yeah, I think I was seeing him every second day up until I gave birth. I still went to see him even with my C-section. I remember it was a sacrifice I had to I had to pay. I remember I was walking into the elevator and I'm thinking to myself, like, oh God, I can't believe this is happening to me. I should be home resting. But God gave me strength. Like, I was able to behave normally in front of people that didn't know. Like, I just had surgery and I got to spend some time with my boy. But when it was time for me to go, I remember it was so hard to walk. I started to feel these stabbing pains. I remember I got into the elevator and I just bent, just putting as much weight as I could on my knees just to try and endure the pain that I was feeling. And I was in the elevator with this sweet um, older woman, and she was like, "It's okay, child. It's okay. You are in hospital. They're going to make the pain go away. You're going to feel better. You'll see. You're going to feel better. You'll see. She was so sweet. I didn't want to tell her that, no, I'm fine. I'm just coming from surgery. I should just be home resting. It was the price I had to pay. And so then I went to the underground parking where my ex-husband was with the newborn baby. And of course, when I got there, she was crying. My daughter was like crying hysterically. She refused the bottle and all of that. So it was just a lot. It was just a lot that was going on. I just don't want to even mention other struggles that we went through because, like, you can imagine, okay? But I'm just so grateful to the Lord that after that 3 months, the boy was finally released. And now, when the boy was released, you're asking me, was the boy cured? With regards to aplastic anemia, it's just a continual checking of the red cells, white cells, and the platelets to make sure like everything is still okay. Okay, so yeah, that's how it is. So the child goes to check up like once or twice a week, or once every fortnight, or once a month, or once every 2 months. So at this point, as I speak to you now, he only goes to check up once a year. And of course, the checkup will have to be done for the rest of his life. But so far, so good. Okay. He hasn't relapsed. Hallelujah. So after he was released from the hospital, it was such great joy until one day I go to his room and I realized that the pillow was wet with blood. Okay, so it was then that we had to like take him to the hospital, and I moved his bed. Okay, now it was like our bed, his bed, and the cot. So it was interesting, but at least he was where I could see him. So yes, so he would get the blood transfusion, and the body would find a way to what, like the blood would find its way out of the body, and it was usually through his nose. So it would just startle me when I realized how wet the pillow was. It was just scary. It was an experience I never got used to. Okay, sorry about that. I thought someone was knocking. So now, the Lord did it for us. The Lord did it for us over time. The boy was just getting stronger and stronger, and the checkups were getting less and less frequent up until this point, like I say, that the boy now only goes for just once a year for the checkup. It was so hard to record this video because I kept on recording and I had to redo it. But I realized the importance to do it so that I can encourage someone and understand that, as believers, like, we are also in the world, so our faith will be tested. And for someone to know that, yeah, God still heals. Okay. And before I close this video, I wanted to share, there was a time when I went into the ward. There was a time when Choc, Choc, if you're aware of this, of Choc, I hope you're aware of Choc. Choc is this, what can I call it? It's an institution, or it's a helping hand. It's a blessing for the children for the children with blood disorders, and for the cancer ward actually. Okay, so they are the ones who did so many things for the children. There are children who passed away, but they passed away having had their dreams come true thanks to Choc. I want to acknowledge Choc. Okay. And I remember, even for my son's birthday, they gifted him. They get to ask a child for a wish, but he was so small. He was 3 years old. Other children asked to go to the beach, asked to be flown there, here and there, and all he asked was toys. And they gave him like lots of toys, lots of cars. So when he left the hospital, he was able to play, and he was able to forget all of that. Now, when I speak to him, many things he really doesn't remember. And I'm very grateful because those were very traumatic. Okay. And we just had to keep on believing that he's going to make it. Yeah. Now, going back, I remember we were coming in for the checkup. Okay. And I remember there were Choc posters up, but among those Choc posters up, it was poem that was put. There were some poems and some letters that the children had written. The children in the oncology unit, they go to school. Like the child can't be there for 6 months, 1 year without going to school. So yeah, in case you are wondering, yes, in the hospital there are schools. The kids do go there. They even wear uniform to go there. Not all of them. Okay, those who are strong enough, they do go and they attend classes. I know. I don't really want to go into details concerning that, okay? I just want to share parts that are just relevant. Um, so I remember I saw this poster and I read it. It was a poem that was written by one little girl. Now she wrote how she had learned. She said she had conquered cancer and that she had learned to face death in the face. Now this child was not cured of the cancer, okay, but what she was really saying was that she had conquered it in her mind because she was not afraid to die. Like she was expressing how she's been able to face death every day in the eye to the point where she's no longer afraid. So just to read that like from a child, like I was so touched. Like these kids, kids are strong, kids are very resilient. To have to hear a child say that, like I've conquered cancer, and yet the child is still undergoing treatment and they're saying I've conquered it because I've learned to look at death in the face, death in the eye, and I'm no longer afraid. Like the child is accepting of tomorrow. If God heals them, God heals them, and if they get to die, then it is what it is. They've accepted it and they stop fighting it, and so they just make the most of what of the rest of their days up until they can leave the hospital, okay, whether it be healing or whether if they just go to heaven. So yeah, so that's the testimony I wanted to share. I don't want to make this too long. So I hope that this bless somebody. Thank you guys. God bless.